Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our webinar, and I hope you will all enjoy our program that we've put together. I'm Roselle Jansen van Vieren, the chairperson of the ILLIG Interest Group and also the facilitator of this webinar. Just quickly, a few house rules. Please mute yourself and put off your video. And then you can also ask questions on the chat room. Magda Brits said she will administrate the chat room for us, as there will be a time for questions and answer at the end of the presentations, and then also the chat room questions will be addressed there. Then I also have a few announcements from LIHAZA. The virtual LIHAZA conference will be from the 27th till the 30th of September 2021 with the theme Libraries Matter, Reflecting on a Year of Change. The online registrations started on the 17th of June and it will end on the 6th of September 2021. The conference fees is for a member. It will be for the full conference. It will be 1,000 Rand for a paid up LIHAZA member. And then for non-members, the fee will be 3,500 Rand per person. Then also another announcement, the Interlending Interest Group AGM will be on the 7th of September from 9 to 11, sorry. So it's on the 7th of September from 9 to 11, and we would like to invite all paid up LIHAZA members to join our AGM. The invitation will go out at the end of the week. So would you please be on the lookout as well for your branch AGMs, all the AGMs, the interest groups, as well as the branch interest group AGMs will be that week. So with further ado, I will open now this webinar. In this day and time, libraries need to change to stay relevant to our users as well as their needs. We need to adapt our services, and also some circumstances also forced us to change the way we serve our users, like COVID-19 lockdown levels that we are experiencing now. So if you looked at our program, we are all about change today. So without further ado, I would like to ask the University of Pretoria, as well as the University of the Northwest, to share with us the experiences they had when they changed to PASA. So Matsuini from University of Pretoria, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I am Matsuini from the University of Pretoria. The PASA was recently introduced, and I want to mention a few of its new features. Integration between interlending and circulation. University of Pretoria is still in the process of integrating Integration between interlending and circulation. University of Pretoria is still in the process of integrating the book borrowed from outside libraries with its own library circulation books. Before using TIPASA, users from branch libraries could not place article or book requests that were available at the University of Pretoria. With TIPASA, interlending and circulation are now integrated into one account, of which is my library account, making it easier for patrons to find the status of their request, whether submitted, shipped, received, cancelled, books due date, etc. An institution library branch is able to request and supply between their own branches, which is called document delivery, generated by TIPASA. Interlending books from other libraries or universities will be issued out from the circulation desk using student or personnel cards. Books from other libraries will be issued out from the circulation system using interlending request numbers as book barcodes. If the user have reached their book limit, they will need to return some books to be able to receive the interlending book. The interlending book's due date will be the same as on circulation system, which sends the due date notification automatically. On email, patrons should enter their email in the email field if they want to receive email notification about their request. Interlending staff receive items from external lender. Patron can track the process of the interlending request by checking their account in their portal as this item is being sent to you. A hold will be created for the requesting patron and a hold pickup notice will be sent to the patron. The patron's hold request will be updated in the patron's account in the Worldcat discovery. The patron can immediately determine that their item has arrived and is ready for pickup. On renewals, no renewals are allowed at the circulation desk. Patrons should contact their campus's interlending department to request a renewal. Interlending overdue books will accumulate a charge like any other books in the library. With TIPASA, our workflows and processes are much more streamlined and integrated. This will also make us work smarter and provide better services to our users. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria. We will now ask Sika Kalubang and Hela van der Walt to share with us their experience from the University of Northwest. Over to you.
During the lockdown, as ILL, we made a decision of not posting books, and workflow was mostly affected by that decision. We decided to supply articles and chapters only because of the problems that we were experiencing during that time of lockdown. And also because not everyone was working from the offices. The majority was working from home. Also, we had to also not to forget to bear in mind the copyright law. That led to the increase of the article and chapter requests. We could not supply on time as per usual due to the increase of scanning process. We also had to rely on our colleagues that were working from work so that they could collect books and journals from shelves for us and also for the one who was scanning for us from the office. Coming to how we experience TIPASA's enhancements or the system enhancements. TIPASA has made certain activities much easier for us, such as the benefit of time to respond, which is also known as turnaround time. It makes the process of planning and supplying much easier because we're able to see how much time we have before the request expires. The second one is the real-time availability. It benefits both the borrowers and the lenders. It also improved the turnaround times, and the user or patrons were able to get the feedback much faster on their requests because of that automatic patron notification button. For example, the system automatically checks the lenders' online catalogs for availability. For example, the Untitled button will automatically send a message to the requester, which will state the status of their request. For example, it will say, no system checked availability. The other one is Patron Index. It makes it so easy and faster to search more efficiently for the patron information using that button, which is Find Patron button, which is we search using the name or ID number or the email and so on. In conclusion, TIPASA's new enhancements together with our initiatives made this COVID challenge on a new growth experience in resources searching for us. Despite the challenges we were experiencing and still are when it comes to supplying. Thank you very much, colleagues. Have a good day.
Okay. Then there was also other changes that Seka is Diala also going to present?
No, Roselle, she's not. She will help if there are any questions to be answered.
Okay, sure.
Thank
All right.
you.
Okay. So also with Sabinet, with OCLC, Wheelchair ILL, there were some changes that took place. So we are going to ask Lynette van Niekerk from Sabinet to share with us some changes that took place. Lynette, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lynette, and I'm happy to be part of this virtual event because it's events like this that helps us as an ILL community to share information and to stay connected. This year continues to be filled with change as we still adapt to the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. But today I would like to share the latest ILL updates with you, enhancements, and how this can help to better manage your workflows. These are some of the latest OCLC releases with regards to Wheelchair ILL as well as TIPASA. I'm just going to highlight one of two of these aspects, and then we will look at these aspects in more depth in the slides to follow. With regards to optimization and efficiency, we're going to specifically look at the time to respond calculation. In terms of e-resources, we're going to look at the knowledge base holdings. And in terms of COVID-19 workflows, we will discuss the aging period that has been extended for problematic matters. So first of all, let's look at the time to respond, which you will find obviously in your lending requests, more specifically your can you supply queue. So this column over here used to be called the referral date column. In the referral date column, your requests were sorted by default according to the most newly created request in the system. So the request that would have appeared at the top would have been the request that was most newly created. However, the referral date column has now been replaced by your time to respond column. In your time to respond column, you will find values. So it will either stipulate less than 12 hours, less than 24 hours, greater than 1 day, or greater than 2 days. So this basically helps you to better prioritize your workload because it's now sorted according to the request that has got the least amount of time available before they age or expire. So this helps you to know which matters require your attention first. Then your aging period for problematic matters has been extended. In the past, it used to be 365 days, which is basically a year. It's now been increased to 760 days. So this gives you more than enough time to update your request correctly before they move on to the closed status. So these are the statuses that has been affected by this. First of all, borrowing library has not yet indicated that a shipped item has been received. Borrowing library has indicated that a shipped item was not received. Borrowing library received the item, but the patron indicates it's been lost. Borrowing library has not returned an item that is 14 or more days beyond the lender's due date. Lending library has not yet indicated that a returned item has been completed. And lastly, lending library has indicated that a returned item was not received and is missing. Let's talk about the importance of accurate Worldcat holdings, what they are, and how they impact on other OCLC services like WorldShare ILL. In the past, thousands of requests to deliver articles had to be manually checked by the library staff against the date range of the potential loaning library's holdings, and then manually sent on to the next library. Now you are able to set up an ILL deflection. So if your requested article's date is not within the date range of the potential loaning library, as listed in the knowledge base, the request will automatically be deflected and the request would move on to the next library in the lender string. I'm excited to tell you about the Express program. Some of you already belong to this program and well done on that. So what is the Express program? In a nutshell, it basically enables digital resource sharing amongst a select group of libraries using the WorldShare ILL network, where the turnaround time for digital copies is 18 hours or less. So let's break this down. First of all, participation in the program is open to TPASA as well as WorldShare ILL users. Secondly, when you participate in this group, you commit to a turnaround time of 18 hours or less for the sharing of digital materials. So the OCLC team continuously monitor the participants to ensure that they meet the criteria at all times. If they know if one of the participants no longer meet the criteria, they will be kicked out of the program. If an outside library suddenly start meeting the criteria, they would also start forming part of the program. So basically, when you participate in this program, you benefit from the quick turnaround times for digital materials. So you might ask yourself, what is our current monthly turnaround time for digital materials? So just a reminder that you are able to access that via your usage statistics on the platform, and you can more specifically look at the lender activity overview report as well as the lender transaction level detail report. From communication that went out, you would probably be aware already that as of yesterday, I'm excited to tell you that when you open your WorldShare ILL homepage, under the quick links section, you will see there is a turnaround dashboard, both for borrowing and lending. So hopefully by using and implementing some of the enhancements that I've showed you today, you will be able to better your turnaround times going forward. Then just a reminder about the new ILL tariffs. It's actually not so new anymore. It's already in effect since February this year. So just a reminder that you need to go to your policies directory and update your tariffs accordingly, because where you act as the learning library, you might lose out on revenue if it's not in line with the current tariffs. So if you're not aware of where you will be able to find these tariffs, you can go to the SARBnet corporate website. You can click on the support tab. More specifically, you can look at the request national interlending, and you can download your tariffs for interlending. There's quite a number of changes that took place, but I'm just going to mention the loans, which is now 80 Rand per request. And for the first 15 pages of copies, it is now 50 Rand, sorry. Then just allow me to share a TPASA member success story with you. The library staff at the American University of Shahi decided to move their resource sharing to the cloud. Because they are already an existing WMS member and their library management system integrated nicely with TPASA, TPASA seemed to be the obvious choice. So 2 years ago, they were able to lend 351 items for the year. After implementing TPASA, they lent 945 items last year. That is almost 3 times the amount. This wouldn't have been possible without TPASA. It just goes to show that TPASA makes things easier and quicker and faster. So because of this, it also led the university to start forming part of the Express program, because they were now able to supply digital materials in a turnaround time of 18 hours or less. Then lastly, just a reminder of SARBnet training and support. We now offer a 1-day, full-day course online for Worldcat ILL. Afterwards, we also make the recordings available to you, and you will at all times be able to also download the Worldcat ILL user guide. And then obviously we're always available via email or telephonically to assist you in any way that we can. On the Worldcat ILL homepage, I just need to remind you that you can also access the OCLC Community Center from there. And remember that there's also additional training resources available on the Community Center. Lastly, I want to invite you towards the end of the session. You're welcome to ask us any questions that you might have. If you don't feel comfortable asking them here, you can always reach out to us via email or telephonically. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lynette. That was very insightful, and I think we can all benefit from all these new changements and improvements that has been made. We are going to move over to our next presenter, Maria Matsuini, who is going to present to us on adapting to change during COVID-19.
Good morning again. My presentation will be on COVID-19 and interlending services, challenges and opportunities. For most of us, 2020 started as just another year where we made our resolution for the coming year. Some of us worked on strategies to be a better person. Others wanted to eat and live healthier. And there were those who intended to be more involved with their children. Even at our work, we planned to work better and achieve more. Little did we know that a little virus would force us to change our habits and ways of living, working, visioning, if we like it or not. Yet within these restrictions, COVID-19 quickly taught us all to be much more creative and innovative. And if there is one thing that we learned in 2020, it is that things can be done differently and still going on. In today's presentation, I will briefly tell you on how we at the University of Pretoria experienced 2020. I will briefly start with our challenges and then how we turn these challenges into opportunities. And yes, we even had a few outstanding achievements during this very difficult year. For most people and institutions, 2020 was a very difficult year. Several people were very sick, others lost their lives and had to say goodbye to loved ones. For us as a team, it was therefore important to ensure that everybody is fine. And although we find ways to do it, it was still a challenge. And now, while we are in the second year of lockdown and the third wave of COVID, it is an even bigger challenge to ensure that everybody feels well. Access to physical buildings was an obvious challenge, especially for the interlending, where most of our services are concentrated around physical books and journals. The limited access had a huge impact on our services. As we suddenly had to work from home, not all of us were prepared for that. And it was a challenge to ensure that all staff members receive laptops with the needed software and programs to be able to do our work. For many, data was also a challenge. Our users suddenly demanded access to online resources to be able to continue their studies and research. There was a particular need for electronic textbooks, as most of these were not available. Some users also needed content which was only available in print. We also become more aware of the challenges of ebooks, such as how difficult it sometimes is for the library to buy ebooks. It is also not always possible to lend or share chapters or parts of some ebooks. In some cases, some ebooks are only available in package or collection, and the library cannot buy one title. Our information resource budget was also cut last year, and we had to cancel a large number of journals and packages. The effect of this will be felt soon by interlending. So we had to make plans as life goes on. To ensure that all staff members cope, we had daily check-ins on WhatsApp. Our employee wellness unit has presented several workshops and webinars to ensure people learn how to take care of their own well-being. The library management viewed the health of all library users as well as library staff as first priority. Health and safety measures and social distancing protocols were therefore regarded in a serious light in all libraries. Since the first lockdown announcement in March 2020, the library was able to offer an extended suite of online services. To accommodate the higher demand for information, the online collection were expanded even more. A contactless collection services for library material was launched during lockdown 3. This service allowed the library users to place requests for material from the library system, followed by communication between library staff and students to collect it from the library. Book drops were installed at all library sites for users to return library material. These items are quarantined before being reshelved. Users may also return library material through registered or courier services. Due to a need for chapters or other parts of physical books, the library established a digitization services just after the physical libraries were closed. Requests are submitted online and are then emailed to requesters after the material is digitized. All these requests are handled within copyright regulations. The library also prioritized the digital curation on most of our university research outputs, such as retrospective theses and dissertations. I think most of us who are working in the interlending units of the libraries experience the same challenges, but allow me to tell you about our experience. Library print services were not available during level 5 lockdown, and in some cases, we had to unfill some of our requests as they were only available on hard copies. Fortunately, we were able to continue to provide interlibrary loan services for electronic material. During level 3 lockdown, health staff members started to go to work twice a week, and they were able to scan requested articles from hard copies. We then informed the interlending community that we can supply articles and chapters. Now we can only supply books to libraries that uses courier. Working from home was not easy as some of our colleagues could not access internet. We had to learn to work better together. And in the past, where some people only did certain things, we now do everything and help each other. At the University of Pretoria, it is every year another team's responsibility to organize the year-end function. 2020 was the interlending unit's turn. We had to think outside the box, and it was quite a challenge, but we presented an excellent virtual function, the first ever online year-end function at the University of Pretoria. What also makes us very proud and work harder as an interlending team is the message received from the OCLC that we have been selected to participate on OCLC's new Express Digital Delivery Program because of our interlending staff exceptional work, consistently delivering articles and other digital resources within 18 hours or less through OCLC's WorldShare interlending network. This, in spite of our challenges, make us realize that we are indeed a great team. In general, I am very excited about interlending. I think COVID made us stronger, more innovative, and we are now working more efficient. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maria, for sharing that with us. It was very interesting. Let us now hear from the University of Cape Town, Rosie Watson, to share with us their experience.
Morning, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I've got a very strange thing on my screen, some program. Hello?
You can go ahead, Rosie.
Can I go ahead? Hi, good morning, everybody. My name's Rosie, and I'm from the Interlibrary Loans Department at the University of Cape Town. And yeah, I just wanted to speak a little bit about our journey the last couple of months and during the pandemic. Our journey officially started on the 26th of March, 2020, with the announcement of the closing of the library to the public, and then the library's continuation of a dedicated virtual service to support research and learning. Of course, this was all new to everybody. We've never worked from home. So with the assistance of our IT department and the support of library management, we were equipped with a laptop, with data, with the necessary tools, and we were set up with the Skype connectivity, all the needed databases, and with Teams and so forth. Even though there were many groups that were formed during that time, like circulation and acquisitions, ILL was the team that was working from home. So now our workflows has changed. So what now? We then had a Skype meeting with the colleagues as to how best to adapt to the situation and to streamline our ILL processes during this time, because it's now just completely different. At that time, we were able to assist our borrowers or our suppliers with articles, book chapters from e-journals, e-books, as well as the print material, as we had a skeleton circulation staff who would photocopy and scan the physical items prior to us, and we could then supply it to the libraries. Unfortunately, at that time, no supplying of books were possible at all. And when our patrons were asking us for a book, we would have to offer them just a chapter or a 10% of the book, as books weren't available from other libraries at all either. Or alternatively, we would then link them with their subject librarian, who would then have a chat with them as a possibility of buying the electronic book. So at that time, Sabinet also sent us a list of the services of the other libraries and what they were able to assist us with. And that was extremely useful because it assisted us with not just putting a library in that was maybe completely closed or didn't have access to their library materials. So thank you for Sabinet for doing that for us, because it really saved some time for us to do the best turnaround time. And then for our UCT patrons, they continue to place their requests via our online interlibrary loan platform that was available via the library's homepage. So we would receive these requests via our ILL generic account, which only the request would come in. So as you would imagine, there would be a lot of requests coming in. And we're not at work, so we're at home. So how do we manage this? So we normally had as a means of our communication with each other as colleagues, we will, via our interlibrary loan account, we will use a color coding to identify the requests that you were busy with. So for instance, if there was a lot of journal articles, the minute you would start, click on a request, you would code it with your name. You would then request it via OCLC. You would complete the request, and then you would go back to the email and just say done. In that way, your colleague would know that they don't have to worry about that. That request has been done. For any request that was problematic or that needed to be requested from overseas, that we color-coded with a follow-up, and then it had an orange color code. So the colleague doing the international request would know, okay, I have to now source this from internationally. So that worked very well for us, so that everybody know what was done and what they needed to do with a specific item. So it also helped that no items fall through the cracks, which can easily happen when you have one generic account, and that no request was left unattended, and get some irate borrowers. So the most challenging times was actually during the lockdown 5, when all libraries were closed, with no physical access to the material. And this proved to be, as Maria said, very problematic. And at that stage, we really had to think out of the box as to how we could be of assistance to the patrons and the other libraries. So as you can imagine, at that time, your statistics has really just dropped considerably. So during these difficult times, we were searching for items via Google, Open Access, ResearchGate, academia, as well as sending emails to authors, publishers, even remote libraries that was not part of OCLC. We would find international libraries that you could see on the OCLC platform, but is not part of the OCLC. We would go to Google, find their homepage, get on their live chat or they ask a librarian, and just to help our patrons, because it was really difficult. And I'm proud to say that this proved to be very, very successful, as we were assisted with many an article, or a chapter from a book, even a thesis. So with theses, we would normally also ask libraries via email, because I find that when you do it via the OCLC, it just gets automatically not supplied. But if you do ask them on an email, you get assisted. So that was our way of, trying to assist our students. Oh, and then one of our staff members is part of the Ex Libris, and she sent us an email to say there was a rapid ILL COVID-19 pod. It was a group of overseas libraries that was willing to assist with articles and chapters during the COVID pandemic times, free of charge and with a very good 11 to 24-hour turnaround time. So we just signed up as a borrower for that period, and I can assure you we received many, many articles during July to September of 2020, which was their COVID period. So now as lockdown has now changed and our libraries are now able to, our staff are now able to go back to the libraries, not everybody, or still a skeleton staff, we now are able to supply our lenders again with articles and chapters and the scanning of physical material. So requesting has now become so much easier, and our statistics have started to increase again. I just wish to say thank you to all the colleagues in the ILL system for their kind assistance during this time, for the phone calls, for the conversations we could have asking for assistance, and the emails we received during this challenging time. It was heartwarming to see the collegiality and the willingness to share, as that is what ILL is about, caring and sharing. Thank you very much.
I want to thank you, Rosie, for sharing us your experience, and I think most of us could get some valuable information and tips with your presentation. And next we are going to ask Tsakani Matibula from the HSRC Library to share their experience.
Good morning, colleagues. You're talking to Tsakani Matibula from the HSRC Library. Basically, a lot of things happened, but I'm just going to share our experience as the HSRC Library. I'm just going to introduce ourselves, who we are. The interlibrary loan sections fall under the Information Services Unit within the HSRC, the Human Sciences Research Council, and we are based in Pretoria. As everybody has already indicated, we were faced with a global pandemic, and then we had to go for a hard lockdown in March. That was a challenge. As we know the saying, we were faced with a huge challenge where you have to change and adapt to something new that never happened, like to any one of us. What we decided to do as the HSRC, we had to consult with our research unit, because as the HSRC, what we do, we are an enabler, like of the research community and we are the researchers. So what we had to do, we had to consult with them through our information specialist. We had to prioritize what was needed for that time. And also most of our research projects were on hold because of lockdown. So we had to know and focus on what was needed at that specific time. What was the next step? We know now what is needed, what needed to be done. We anticipated that some of the libraries will stay open, but it wasn't for long. So it was impossible to get things from the libraries or to the libraries. And due to the limitations in many libraries, borrowing and supplying books became a serious challenge. And for some of us who rely in courier companies to send books and to receive books, because we have our offices in Cape Town, Durban, Pietermaritzburg, and it was difficult to just send the books there or to send anything or to get books back to the Pretoria library. So everything came into a halt. Another thing that we had to do is to encourage researchers to choose chapters. Since we couldn't request book loans, we had to send them content pages so that they can choose the chapters that they needed the most. And we had to have a guideline that they can choose between 2 and 3 chapters, not more than that, just to always remember the copyright guidelines. And then we also alerted our patrons that all the libraries, all the requests might not be filled at all due to many libraries being closed. And also the fact that some of the libraries couldn't access their scanning facilities. Most challenging things that we faced, it was the access of our own physical collection, because we were told not to go back to the office. We were working from home 24/7. And then another thing was having to juggle between our physical and emotional well-being as staff, the overdue books from other libraries, and also our own that way we have supplied to other libraries. We had to ask Sabine to do a global renewal for most of the books that were outside our own books. And then for other libraries, we had to do a return drive where we sent a library, an email, a general email to all the patrons that had the books from outside the HSRC to at least come once a week to drop, because the securities were allowed to work, to drop the books, and so that we know. And then we had a register to mark which book came back and all that. It was a very challenging task. There was a delay in everything, like from having to wait for chapters of books and all that. It was something else. And then other things that really challenged us was network connectivity, because we had to work from a different place altogether. Unlike, it involved data and all that, and VPNs and all that. Some of the opportunities that we grabbed was just to develop our ebook collection. And also we have seen a gradual change in the use of our visual library. We also started a buddy system. It's a system where we use to check on each other weekly, we will have one person checking all the other people using WhatsApp calls or WhatsApp video. The tips and the tricks that we continue and I will share with you is that we must just take care of our well-being and to continue to work smart. You need to prioritize your work and focus on whatever that you have set on for the day and continue to lift your head high and keep shining. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tsakani. I can see you really try to adapt to the change. So next up will be myself, speaking from the National Library of South Africa. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. So a COVID-19 outbreak is having a global impact, also affecting our South African local communities. Libraries of all types, geographic locations and sizes had to adapt their services to meet the changing community needs. The National Library of South Africa also had to adapt its services to the public as well as to the interlending community during COVID-19. I thought it was just interesting to share with you this slide to just show you the extent of change all of our libraries had to go through. I mean, 23 March, the alert level 5 was announced starting on the 27th of March. That was hard lockdown. All the libraries was closed. And I think for most libraries, it was the most difficult time of COVID-19. Then in May, we went to alert level 4. In June, we went to alert level 3. In 17 August, we went to alert level 2. On 21 September, we went to alert level 1, where I think most of the libraries started again with services they delivered to the public. In December, we went through the second wave and we went to adjusted level 3. In March 2021, we went back to adjusted level 1. In May to adjusted level 2. 28 June with the third wave, we went to adjusted level 3. And at the moment we are standing on adjusted level 3. So yes, I think all of us had to change together with the levels. So the National Library also had to adapt to change. So during level 5, starting on the 27th of March, our staff were working from home, attending to email and interlending requests. Starting from July, NLSA staff returned to the office, working in 2 groups, alternating each week. And when level 1 started, all of our staff returned to duty. Our library opened for the public on the 5th of October 2020. We had to adjust our operating days and hours. And every user who requires access to our library is screened before entering the premises by completing a register at the entrance. All users must wear their masks to minimize the spread of the disease, and also a minimum distance of 1.5 meters is maintained among library users. I can also say during this time that we were open for the public, We also didn't give them access to our open shelves. So what would actually happen is they will request the librarian at the service point, and that librarian and then the librarians will fetch the specific book from the open shelf, and then they have to return it back to the librarian. And then, of course, also we were using our discussion rooms as quarantine rooms, where all material had to be quarantined for 3 days, and then we can put it back on the shelves again. The number of users allowed on site is differing according to lockdown level regulations. We were at 50 persons, then at level 1 we went to 100, and even sometime we went to 500, and now again we are at the moment on 50 users per day. So during this time, we had research services that we offered. We offered access to library information remotely, as well as walk-in services, limited walk-in services. Our reference librarians are available for general research support and can be contacted via email, WhatsApp, or telephone. We encourage our users to pre-request their material and only visit the library when the material has been retrieved and ready. A material is requested via the emails. You can see the email addresses there for Cape Town as well as Pretoria. And then also they can contact us through other platforms of communication like Facebook and WhatsApp. Then reproduction of material, the photocopying, printing and scanning services are also available. Material is made available at our fast pickup service at reception. Then users are also encouraged to make an appointment if, especially the people that want to do very difficult research. We encourage them to make an appointment if they want to consult different collections held by the National Library of South Africa. The seating space is available in different reading rooms. We've got a reading room and a reference room. A reference is more for the detailed reference. We supply free internet and Wi-Fi access to our users. And then we also started with a new service during this period called Press Reader. It offers unlimited digital access to over 7,000 newspapers and magazines from all over the world. So our users definitely benefit from that service that we offer. Then also during this time, we gave information literacy training sessions, some of which was tailor-made to their user needs and requests. Then with regard to interlending services that we offer, the National Library interlibrary loan services continued during the whole COVID-19 period, both nationally and internationally. And our services was also adapted as per changed lockdown levels. During the hard lockdown in March, we supplied material via article exchange and email using electronic and other free resources. And like Rosie said, you sometimes use Google, every kind of resources that you can get just to supply information to your user. As of 10 July, the National Library supplies books as well as copies of articles and chapters of books subject to copyright regulations. Material received by the National Library is also quarantined in a special area for 3 days before we open it and we use it. Then also the Gauteng regional courier services resumed at the end of September 2020. And at the moment, it only goes to between Wits and the National Library Depot on a Thursday, as some of the libraries are not opened yet, and there is not a lot of packages. Then the National Library also distributed some library guides, of which some focused on assisting libraries to cope during the COVID-19 period. Our first library guide for 2020-21 gave some recommendations on the processing of system and manual requests, and some valuable tools and free resources were shared to assist libraries with access to information. Another library guide, number 2, it provided valuable information to assist libraries that are planning to reopen their services during the COVID lockdown period. And also lastly, another one focused on copyright, as all of the libraries rely a lot on the supply of copies. So we provided the information on copyright as it applies to interlending. So yes, we all tried to do our level best to serve our users. Thank you very much. Okay, then I want to again introduce Sakani Matibula, who is going to speak to us today on mental health and COVID-19. Sakani, over to you.
Thank you, Roselle. I'm not actually going to talk. I'm just going to play a video. I hope each and every person will enjoy. And if I don't come back, I just want to say thank you in advance.
Our mental health is important. By looking after it, we can feel happier, more positive, and a better life. Research shows there are 5 simple things we can do as part of our daily lives to boost our mental health and well-being. These are called the 5 ways to well-being. Connect. Connect with those around you, with family, friends, colleagues, and neighbours. Look to spend meaningful time with people each day. Instead of sending an email, talk to someone. Speak to someone new. Ask how someone's weekend was and really listen when they tell you. Arrange a catch-up with friends. Join a club or group of people who share a common interest. Put 5 minutes aside to find out how someone reads. Think of these connections as the cornerstone of your life. Strengthening them. Building these connections will support and enrich you every day. Be active. Look for ways to be active every day. Go for a walk or a run. Step outside. Cycle. Play a game. Do some gardening. Dance. Most importantly, discover a physical activity you enjoy and that suits your level of mobility and fitness. Being active every day causes changes in our brain, which can positively affect our mood. Exercising makes you feel good. Take notice. To take notice is to be present in the here and now. Pay attention to the world around you, nature, people, your thoughts and feelings. Be curious. Catch sight of the beautiful. Remark on the unusual. Notice the changing seasons. Savor the moment. Becoming more aware of the present moment and reflecting on your experiences will help you appreciate what matters to you. Keep learning. Keep learning is about learning new skills and information about topics that interest us. We can keep learning by trying something new, rediscovering an old interest, signing up for a course, fixing a bike, taking on a new responsibility at work, learning to play a musical instrument, trying a new recipe. Set a challenge you enjoy achieving. Learning can make you more confident and boost yourself. Give. Giving is about small acts of kindness for other people, whether that be your time, patience, words, or a smile. The smallest act can count. Do something nice for a friend or a stranger. Thank someone. Smile. Make someone a cup of tea. Sign up for volunteering. Donate to charity. Offer to help someone with a project. Ask a friend or someone you work with how they are and really listen to the answer. Giving back to others can create positive feelings and help us feel more satisfied with life. Seeing yourself and your happiness as linked to the wider community can be incredibly rewarding and create connections with the people around you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sakani. We really appreciated you sharing that video with us, sharing tips on how to adapt also to change as a person. Because I think we sometimes we work so hard and we get to focus on ourselves as a human being, subjected to all these changes and how to adapt to it. We really thank you for that. I think we have come now to the end of our program. So there is now, first of all, I want to ask Magda if there is some, there were some questions on the chat. If not, then we can ask, you can ask us questions and we will try to give you answers, or you can even share own experiences.
Hi, everyone. Yes, there was just actually three questions. The one was from Sushila Naidu, and it was for Lynette. Which, with the express services, does it take into consideration the weekends and public holidays for the 18-hour turnaround time, Lynette? If you can just answer that. And then for Jane, I think from Jane to Rizal, which libraries are supplying print books and how are they delivered? And then I have another one. Do you still provide content pages from journals or serials during COVID-19?
I have blue hand too.
And then we have another question from Rodina. Do we have a list of libraries supplying books or an updated list? Maybe Rizal. I don't know if you can take that one. And then another one from Good Day. Which platform do you use to host your ebooks for library on Vital Source or other? I'm not sure to that question was directed. Maybe we should start. Lindy, I see you have your hand up. Maybe we can start, Lindy.
Thank you, Magda. Hello, everybody. I would like to respond to Sushila's question about the turnaround time. As far as I can see, they define turnaround time as your average turnaround time as a lender. It's the amount of time from when your library receives a loan or copy request to when the borrowing library marks it received. So they do not mention anything about public holidays or weekends there. So I do not think that that is included. What I can suggest is that you just make sure that your hours, your open hours is correct in your Worldcat registry under service configuration, that you indicate your hours and days of operation, and that you also add special hours. So when you have a public holiday, add a special hour to indicate that your library is closed over a public holiday or during the December festive period. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Lindy. I have this question as well. Do you have a list of libraries supplying books or updated list? Rizal or Lindy, who is going to answer that one for us?
I will take that one as well. Rizal can add if she wants to. I want to mention this, so thanks for asking the question. I just want to remind everybody again about the Request National Interlending Support page on the Sabinet corporate website. I will post the URL in the chat just now. And then we still have that survey open on libraries able to supply material during the interlibrary loan COVID-19 lockdown period. So if your situation has changed and you are able to supply more material, for instance, loans as well, please go and complete the survey. I've just had an update now a day or so ago from Northwest University. So we keep that list updated and we post the updated list on our request support page, so you can see which libraries are able to supply which types of material. So please do take a few minutes and complete the survey so that we have the most recent information available. As Rosie also mentioned, this helps a lot because then you do not send requests to institutions who are in fact not able to provide that type of ILL service.
Thank you, Lindy. Rizal, do you have something to add to that as well? The question from Jane, who asked which libraries supply parts of books and how do they deliver it?
Okay, I can also, actually, Lindy's answer partly answered that question is on that list where you can see which libraries only supply electronic resources, who supply books. So it's a very helpful tool to find out whom to direct your requests to. I know that the National Library, like I said, we have been supplying since September. We have been supplying books. We mostly do it through the courier service here in the Gauteng Regional Courier Service, and we do post books, but we also experience that there are delays in the books. So we are just asking libraries to sometimes just be patient, but we do send it via post as well. I hope it answered your question.
Thank you, Roselle. I hope it answered the question. And then there was that question about the I see UP says they do the ebooks on the Discovery Catalog, and that is where Lynette also mentioned if your ebooks are up in your knowledge base, then you will also be able to supply your e-resources. I see Lindy also posted the link in the chat for the request support page, where you can include all the information for what you supply and how you supply it. Is there any other questions? Maybe you can just raise your hand, or as I see, this is all the questions that we have received so far.
Oh, there was also the question from Stephen about the content pages for journals and serials.
Yeah, content pages for journals and serials, yes. Who's going to answer that question, Roselle? Any of the other ladies who...
What was the question?
The content pages which libraries supply print... Oh no, the content pages for serials. Do you still provide content pages for journals or serials during COVID-19?
From the National Library side, we did provide content pages of serials. Yes. But I don't know the other libraries whether they did it as well.
Maria, Tsakani, any of you other ladies who do they supply? Anyone want to answer this question? Or are you good? Stephen?
We also don't supply contents pages. It is automatical.
Okay. Thank you, Maria. Any other questions? Any other speakers? Okay. Then I think maybe Maria can. Then I think we've finished with the question session.
Okay. Maria, can you close for us?
I think we'd all agree that COVID-19 had and still having a huge impact on our lives. All our speakers explain it in details to us. We also learn about the contributions interlending can have in addressing some of the issues university needs to deal with. In this regard, my feeling is that we as interlending team will play even bigger role in future to address the challenges created by COVID, such as much smaller information resources budget. Sakani shared interesting insight on wellness with us. We learned how to take care of our own mental health. Thank you for sharing some great ideas with us. We also learned how TIPASA can assist us to provide better service to our clients. From my side, I want to thank you. I want to thank our excellent speakers for their informative presentation. Roselle, Sika, Sakani, Hela, Rosie, as well as Lynette from Sabinet. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with us and making us think of our role, but also about our new abilities. A huge thank you for the committee who worked very hard to make today's event possible. Roselle, Antoinette, Sakani, Jane, Itumeleng, Suzette, and Marte. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you also for everybody who assisted with the technology and Liasa who provided the platform. And then today's event would not have been a success or of any value if you didn't attend. Thank you to all that invested their time today and participated in the event. I think this was an excellent event. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for joining and keep safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, bye.